God, look, just because we're losing doesn't mean it's all over.
Cut the crap, Morty. I mean, the Mohawks have beaten us the last 12 years. They're going to beat us again.
That's just the attitude we don't need, Phil. Sure, Mohawk has beaten us 12 years in a row. Sure, they're terrific athletes. They've got the best equipment that money can buy. Hell, every team they're sending over here has their own personal masseuse. Not masseur, masseuse. But it doesn't matter. Do you know that every Mohawk competitor has an electrocardiogram, blood and urine tests every 48 hours to see if there's any change in his physical condition? Do you know that they use the most sophisticated training methods from the Soviet Union, East and West Germany, and the newest Olympic power, Trinidad and Tobago? But it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. I tell you, it just doesn't matter. 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 Even if we play so far over our heads that our noses bleed for a week to 10 days, even if God in heaven above comes down and points his hand at our side of the field, even if every man, woman, and child held hands together and prayed for us to win, it just wouldn't matter, because all the really good-looking girls would still go out with a guy from Mohawk because they got all the money. It just doesn't matter if we win or we lose. It just doesn't matter. 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 It just doesn't matter.
Hey, Dad. Real quick, can you bring me a piece of toilet paper so I can or my Ninth Circle Symphony in there just got hit with bricks, throwing bricks. Everybody's going fucking nuts. Getting ready to start a next song. Let's go in and check it out. We're at the historic Melody Inn. Welcome to the weekend wrap up. It's high noon, everybody, on Sunday. I hope you've had a great weekend so far. Hey, we wanted to start the show with some videos from a couple of weeks ago that we weren't able to get onto the show due to some unfortunate technical difficulties. But hey, so we started out with Grimy and Mr. Denton and Ninth Circle Symphony, and those guys, those videos were so awesome. And Shep, you did a great job, man. That Ninth Circle Symphony video, man, with the red over the black and white looked fucking awesome. Man.
Thanks, bro.
Great job.
Appreciate it.
And so yeah, we had those videos. We wanted to make sure we showed those to you guys. Thanks for tuning in. This is the weekend wrap up, the show where we kind of touch on things that happened over the week and over this weekend, and then talk to an awesome guest, and then we show you some things happening next weekend so you can make your plans. So this week we had some great shows. It was 420, so a lot of things going on in town, celebrating the infamous
Hell yeah.
national holiday for a lot of the
What the fuck?
takers of the green. So on the 19th at Longshot, the EP release party happened with Remote Controls and I Got Worms. So I hope that went well for them and some people that
Oh, yeah.
the EP, man.
Yeah, I wasn't able to make it out, so
Yes. And I know going on right now, well, we've got Longshot, which I think we'll probably mention a few things going on there, but there's like a benefit thing going on, a thing to contribute to. We're trying to save Longshot.
yeah, there's a GoFundMe running around for
Yeah.
sure. Like if you see that and you can help out, definitely.
Yeah.
Let's keep Longshot around. They're awesome.
It's a great venue, and I feel like they've been kind of getting fucked with a little bit, but I don't know the full story on that. But they're really trying to do a good thing for all us fans and whatnot, and giving us another venue to play.
Hell yeah. As
Putting
well,
on all ages shows.
artists like Amanda, you have artwork on display up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So,
we'll get to that in
Yeah.
just a few minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah. Then last night we had at Longshot again, Misunderstood, Killer King, and the Fentanyls.
hell yeah.
And at the Maryland Rose Center, there was a spring thing. It was an all-day event with art, music, and food, 420 Fest. And I think
Sex waffles.
the things that they do where it's like during the day, the little festivals and whatnot, and
Yeah.
bringing all that kind of stuff together is awesome. I'm pretty sure they're going to be doing the punk rock market again in the
Yeah.
coming months.
What's
So
happening?
I think that was a really cool thing they did last week. I feel like I've been starting to hear some rumors about that coming up again. So that would be awesome. And then at Radio, we had Wick, Shelby County Centers, and Tim Brickley and Wendy Reed.
Yeah.
So Radio, also some really cool shit going on there, starting to pop back up. And then last night at PRN, we had Joe Buck Yourself and Bone Daddy, who we had Travis and Jack on the show. That
Yeah.
was an awesome show. And Skunk Dog, I think Shep was out there for that one. So
Yeah.
we've got some videos that we can show you guys from last night's PRN. What one would we start with, Shep?
We're going to start with Joe Buck Yourself.
Awesome.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. I don't know what happened to my buttons. They're all different.
Uh,
It's kind of exciting because I don't know what's going to happen now. Except we're going to play this video.
The shadows of life alone, dance of the night, thrashing man from the pits of hell, they stand for lamb. Lord, give me the man, oh Lord, give me the man, and once you're dead, oh, give me the man, and go high, go high, give me the man. Let it be said, let it be told, get on the say the devil's more. Oh, give me my head, oh, leave me my head, and dead. Deep in my head. Oh, go ahead. Deep in my head.
So that was Joe Buck yourself, a legend in the game. He used to play with Hank Williams III and a lot of other acts. Talked to the guy, really, really great guy. I love makes me want to get the little kick drum on the back of the guitar.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of cool. And I noticed like he had the guitar strings on there. Just was making me like think about how my guitar is like that. It drives you fucking nuts.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But I'm not the only one. Me and Joe Buck yourself, man. So I'm in good company with that.
Hell yeah.
What's the next video you have? Was that going to be Skunk Dog?
Bone Daddy.
Bone Daddy. Really?
Actually, yeah, let's go with Skunk Dog. We'll go ahead and play that real quick. Then right into it. Want to come back to you again? So we'll come back and vote for Bone Daddy.
Let me hear the intro. You are saying that Bone Daddy, though, right?
Oh, you want to do Bone Daddy? Get that back to you. What? Yeah.
Amanda, and then you bring her here.
Y'all gonna say fuck this thing in the mouth with us, alright? Here we go.
That's the all of it.
Days young, but I had enough time. Stay in the mouth. Falling over before it even starts. Time to stay in the mouth. One more time. Falling over before it even starts. Time to stay in the mouth. You guys are awesome. Just like a king in the den. And it happens to a woman that it makes me sick. Time to make the best of it. We're gonna fuck this thing.
It's so good, dude. Crazy. Right? It was dubbed by what's in the video. That's actually happening. It was that loud there. That feedback from the bass.
And on the table, the time who says I'm stable, but they ain't in my heart's design. Never gonna make it out now. On the table, the time who says I'm stable, but they ain't in my heart's design. Never gonna make it out now. Oh, 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 oh. Never gonna make it out alive. Whoa, whoa. Oh, never gonna make it out alive.
Oh yeah, man. Some great videos. Were you wanting to hit a button? See if,
Well,
see if we got
yeah,
a hell yeah.
I don't know what they do
Yeah,
anymore.
big one. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Are you just hitting all up?
I'm just hitting. I'm having a time of my life over here.
Man, we need to get Alberto on the show sometime.
Yeah, dude, that'd be
He can
dope.
do everything, can he?
Yeah,
Crazy.
like every instrument under the sun.
Yeah. He's a really good drummer too, man.
Fuck yes.
So joining us today, now that we've got all caught up with what happened over the weekend, hope you guys were at those shows and checking stuff out. But joining us today is somebody that's starting something off next weekend that wanted to make sure you guys knew about it. And joining us with no further ado is Amanda Irene today.
I'm like,
Where am I?
where is it? What year is this? All right.
Where's the beef?
Where's the
like
beef?
1984. And our control of technology for 1984, man, it's like we're light years ahead of the game.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
So, Amanda, tell us a little bit about what you've got coming up next weekend up at the Radio, right?
Yeah. So it's called the Nuvo Happy Hour podcast. It's actually our second episode, and so on this second episode, we're going to be at Radio. We're going to have Mr. Clit and the Pink Cigarettes, Loudly Sue, and then we're also going to have members of the Indianapolis Symphonic Band. I guess you would call it an ensemble piece. They're going to be playing some funk music.
Okay.
So that's why it's called a whole lot of
Bit of funk and
And
a
a whole-
lot of punk.
and a lot of funk.
It's a hell of a lineup too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's.
So
I'm pretty
I was
excited.
wondering when I saw Indianapolis Symphony Ensemble if that was literally like a symphony ensemble or just somebody with a clever band name.
No, it's actually members of the symphony, and that's
awesome.
yeah. I mean, obviously, we can't get the entire symphony on
Sure.
stage, so it's
Why
just-
not?
Yeah, that'd be.
I don't know. I
amazing.
saw Phoenix on the Fault Line perform
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
true.
shit. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you
So
know.
it's the second episode, actually. So I
Yeah.
apologize. When was the first episode? And is that something that if somebody's watching now and they want to go back and check?
Yeah, if so, our first episode. I'm sorry, I think my mic's kind of going in and out.
It's your headphones.
Okay, it's my headphones. All right.
Yeah, too.
But if you want to catch the first episode of the podcast, I believe if you go on our Nuvo's YouTube page, it's on there. And then if you go on Nuvo's website, you get more access to exclusive content from the podcast. And
And who was on that?
it was Catherine Yeski Taylor. She wrote a book called "She's a Badass: Women in Feminism," and basically she interviewed several different female rock musicians, ranging from Ann Wilson of Heart and Susie Quattro, Exene Cervenka, Lydia Lunch, Tanya Donnelly from Belly and the Breeders.
These interviews are in the book.
Yeah. So each chapter features a different musician.
And
And
is
it's
she a
just-
local artist or local
It's
writer?
mainly more renowned national artists. And
Sorry, guys. They can't hear that, but I can. Sorry, go ahead.
okay, all right. So
My bad.
it's okay.
I'm just trying to get the link to send out here to the viewers.
So yeah, it's a great book, and it's just really interesting to see how across the generations, because the author purposely had it to where each chapter was a different artist, but it was like ranging from like an oldest generation down to the youngest, and you can see the how the views of feminism and gender roles and stuff change as you go throughout each generation. And so, and I thought that was pretty
Was
fascinating.
there one that like kind of struck you the most, that like you remember the story they told, that you were like, oh damn, like I didn't know it had been that bad, or thank God we've come this far, or maybe even the opposite of that?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
it was
you know,
serious.
a lot of not like any particular one really stands out to me, like as something, because all those experiences were different. What really stood out to me was the difference in opinions varying from each artist to what feminism was. Like some of the artists, they did not like to be labeled a feminist. You know, like Exene Cervenka from X, and then you have Tanya Donnelly from like the '90s band, like the '90s generation. She's like, I'm glad I'm a feminist. I worked very hard to have that title, So it's just really interesting to see the difference of opinions, and I think that really shows in the book. So
I feel like for me, people can have a much different, when it comes to feminism, I guess, definition.
yes,
And
absolutely.
I guess, to me, having 3 daughters and whatnot, it really changed once, I was a father and had daughters of my own. Almost by default, I became, in my mind, a feminist. But I think that just in a general worldview, it's about equality and all of us being just, starting life on the same foot and having the same opportunities. And,
Right.
But yeah, I think that, what would you say is your definition now? And maybe it's changed over the years, of what it would mean to be a feminist.
I definitely think my opinion of feminism has changed over the years, and not necessarily like changed, just maybe become more evolved as the times have changed. Because if you're, if you're stuck in that same mindset, you're not doing yourself any favors. Especially, you want to be. To me, like feminism means being, inclusive, like transgender, non-binary, stuff like that. And I know people have a lot of differing opinions on that, but you know, I think, I think all that's valid. Of being, you know, transgender women are women, and I feel like today's feminism, like you have to really, it has really challenged what gender roles or lack of gender roles are now. And I think, we just kind of, we have to change our definition of things all the time. I think it's the human condition to be more, inclusive and sensitive of people's needs, I think. And just, everybody wants to be, I don't know what the term would be, like, just everyone wants to be validated, like, know that they're seen, that, they're a person. And I'm kind of rambling here, but that's just this is kind of my view, like, very like hippy dippy. Like,
Do you watch a lot of TikToks?
I don't. I watch reels like an adult, Nick.
Sorry,
No, I'm kidding.
I'm just a big kid, I guess. Well,
I mean,
We watch reels of TikTok videos.
we all get our drugs from different places. I
Right.
get my drugs from Instagram reels. So, yeah.
would you say that anymore that how do you feel when it comes to topics of masculinity and femininity and the I just feel like right now there is a lot of stuff out there that feels very toxic,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to, in a way, it's like, how do we stop these things from going to such extremes that they become? I think ultimately we're all wanting to be like equal and not divided,
Right.
and a lot of the rhetoric seems to be out there to kind of divide us. Do you get a sense of that too?
Well, I think you can. I do somewhat, but I think it's all, and also the type of media you consume as well. And I think a good way to kind of mitigate that is just to sort out the bullshit and, do you what makes you happy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I definitely think social media can be very, it's a great thing. I think it's a great thing for keeping in touch with friends, like things such as this and advertising events and stuff. But it can also be, I mean, like, if you go on any comment section of a news story, there's going to be a lot of spicy hot takes that nobody ever wanted or needed.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that, you just gotta, I don't want to say like create your own little bubble, because you don't want to, like, cut yourself off from the world. But I would say in order to mitigate that toxicity, just, kind of fill your life, and this applies to even the internet, fill your newsfeed with stuff that it, enhances your experience. Like, like, if you're on TikTok or Instagram or whatever, and you start seeing all this crap, like, go. I would suggest, like, go on other pages and seek out things that interest you. Or, I have all these Instagram accounts of like animals or like artwork and stuff like that. And I think that's an opportunity there to kind of broaden your horizons and learn other things and not necessarily focus on people's hot takes and opinions.
Sure. I feel like for me, it is definitely, and you mentioned like the bubble. And there was a time for me where I was very stressed out about the current events and whatnot going on. And I realized like so much of what was stressing me out and, taking my baseline to then when I'm at work or just through the course of my day, things are heaping from this baseline of being stressed out about shit that was happening on the TV essentially.
Yeah.
I couldn't do anything about it. And, it's like, I kind of came up at that time with the concept, like, bubble up. And it's not about cutting out the real world.
No.
But I find like when you're at the store, when you're at work, when you're out at shows, when you're out living your life off of social media, that most of these things are not in your face the way they are on social media.
Right. And, that's a good point. And that, it's also, and if you find yourself, online all the time and it's stressing you out and you're seeing all this BS about whatever, I would just suggest, tune in and drop out, I guess. Take a internet break, go outside, go see some artwork, go to a show, do whatever you need to do.
Sometimes I wonder if the younger generation, because I'm in my late 20s, and I think about the teenagers now.
These kids.
I'm actually in my mid 40s.
Same.
But I wonder if they have more of a sense, because I think that a lot of what I see, it's almost like worse for our generation. And I think the younger generation, like I know we're a lot of like Facebookers, and at least what my understanding is like if you get into like teenagers now or people in their early 20s, they're not on Facebook nearly as much. They do more like Instagram and stuff like that. And maybe that's even behind the times now. But I just wonder if there maybe eventually, because it seemed to me like it was just a spiraling out of control thing. But sometimes you think, yeah, they'll see it for what it is and be more responsible with it eventually or something.
Yeah. I saw this funny meme the other day. It's been going around on Facebook, actually. And it said something to the effect of Instagram makes people feel insecure about their bodies and poor. And TikTok makes me feel old. That's why I like to stay here on Facebook, the ghetto. I thought that was pretty amusing.
It's funny because, there's, especially when you do like podcasts or you're out there like with art and music and whatnot, a lot of times conversation will come up about like the different platforms and how to use them correctly or which ones are kind of like passe now and everybody's, so on some level, I think you stay kind of trying to know what's up with that. And it gets harder the older you get to keep up, I think. But yeah, it's like by the time we all switch over to Instagram or something, it'll be something else. But I do think that for me, when I'm trying to reach what I think of as like my audience,
Yeah,
my friends and people that are into whatever we're doing, Facebook just still seems like the place to go for that for the most part.
I still miss MySpace, bro.
We were actually talking about that.
Way better.
I loved MySpace. My favorite thing on MySpace was that you could like customize your page.
Yes.
And if you were like a band, you could have like a metal or a punk rock kind of background to it, and then you have the little player right on there with like your demo or your,
Yeah, you had to drag me to Facebook.
Like turning all of
I didn't want to go.
Like HTML code or
I knew all the codes, dude. I was
we were all basically web designers at that point.
Yeah.
They took it away from us.
It was so, and I was so mad when like everybody just, it seemed like over the course of like 2 weeks, MySpace was dead. Everybody was on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I go over to Facebook and I'm trying to figure out like what the wall is and how the like. It was like so much harder for me to figure out Facebook at first. I didn't get it. I was like, you can't put shit on here the way you like. People were
So like they used to say like, "What are you up to?" or whatever, and like when you go to post.
Yeah.
And I would always like do it in what is that, third person? So instead of it being like, I'm heading to the grocery store, oh boy, I put it's heading to the grocery store. Oh
because
boy.
they would have your name.
Yeah, yeah. It's fucking Facebook illiterate. I had no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seemed like there was a time though, like Facebook was a lot of fun. Like there were so many, like I was in like a little meme making group or whatever, and I can remember like
They still have those.
Yeah, you know, it's just you got to grow up at some time.
I think our generation is more. I think our generation is more the meme generation. Wouldn't you say?
I did like. I mean, me and him are still.
Shit, I make a meme every day. I may not post it, but I make it.
I made the little night circle one this week.
Yeah.
It was a pretty good one. I felt like.
Yeah, it was good.
Sometimes it's like you see a thing that's like a trend or something. Like for that, I kept seeing the your music changed my life or saved my life or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's always like Cheech and Chong.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, that shit under it. So I was like, oh, let's throw a local spin on it. And, yeah, I thought like, what's the wildest band you could put? Definitely Night Circle. You know? So Amanda, what got you wanting? Because you've been writing for Nuvo for a while, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So tell us like some about your writing and how did you go to school for writing at all?
Honestly, I've been writing most of my life, even if it was just bad poetry. I really enjoyed reading when I was a kid, and as an adult, I really don't read nearly as much. But I think that really kind of gave me helped me out with my writing ability. And then I've written short stories here and there and stuff like that. I keep saying I'm a lot. I just noticed, but I don't have a formal degree. I was at one point an English major, so I do have a little bit of background in that. But as far I don't have a journalism degree or anything like that. And I think these days, it certainly helps, but a lot of people branching out. There's a lot of unfiltered talent that your journalism, I think, is changing in a lot of ways. I mean, for one, print media is not so much a thing anymore as audio visual.
Oh, I know. You're talking about like my cigarette pack, right? Because that's all they really print anymore.
Pretty much, yeah.
Like newspapers are just nobody buys them. Magazines, Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? I do still like the physical, digital print stuff. Like with Cream magazine, they'll put out, and they make it really special because they put out, I think they do monthly issues or quarterly issues, maybe, but it's something that they do, not like all the time. They don't have like a weekly print, and I think that makes it a little bit more special because you have something in your hand that you can collect, and the printouts are great. There's great photographs, there's great articles, and
Limited run too, so there's only so many.
Yeah.
Special. Yeah.
Yes, I love that, and of course, comic books.
Mm-hmm.
Comic books, I know they have digital comic books, but
it'll never be the same.
It's not the same. It's not the same. You have to get your comic books and put them in the little Mylar sleeve and put them away, and nobody can touch them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
It's a collector's item. It's a piece
Yes.
of art, and it's people like collecting things.
Yes.
And I think that that is one thing as we're moving forward into the digital world, and there is no actual need for the artifact.
Right.
It's a balance because I do think there people do still want to collect things.
Absolutely.
Yeah, obviously, like, yesterday was record store day, and people like Indie CD and Vinyl, Square Cat, people go and camp out early so they can get in and get their records. And buying records has really become very popular over the years, and I love it. I live like within walking distance of Square Cat. And I love going record shopping, and like, especially if you're out of town, because you never know what you're gonna find.
Sure. Yeah.
And I always get a high when I find a good record and it's for really cheap,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like I found a treasure or something like that.
For me, it's like the 7 inches and stuff.
Yeah.
What was the place that was it John Zepp's that owned the
Vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I used to love going in there.
Oh,
'cause
yeah.
You would find some just real
Yeah.
underground stuff.
I have
7 inches.
my Sharona, like the single from I got it there, and then I got Sweet Fox on the Run. I got the single
Nice.
there. Yeah, I've got some really cool singles that I got from his spot.
Well, you know how like in video games they have like the Retron video game players that will play like all the Super Nintendo and Nintendo games and Sega. Like hopefully that is something that they do for moving forward for music media. Audio tapes, records, even the 8 tracks.
Oh God.
Because I know like you're a big VHS guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you still have a VCR?
Oh yeah, yeah. Few of them.
I
Yeah.
wonder, like, it seems, I can't remember the last time I saw like a VCR for sale somewhere. Maybe
No.
Goodwill.
So you guys noticed the shirt I'm wearing, Dead
Yeah.
Formats.
Yeah.
They do that every year at Black Circle. They do
They do it like quarterly now, I think.
Yeah.
Does so well.
Yeah, it's shout out to my friend Noel that runs.
Can you get like the actual playing gear there?
I think some vendors
Like, having
might
the tapes
sell VHS players.
Mhm.
And I didn't go last year, but I plan to go this year. And I'm really curious to see what all they have. And I think that, I think stuff like a lot of more analog stuff is becoming popular. I like a lot of local bands around here. They put their releases on cassette.
Yeah.
Pumpkin Sex Blanket did, What Denim did. Quite a few other bands have, and I think that's cool too. And it is. I kind of wish we had a way to like bring back other forms. I mean, remember laser discs?
Mhm.
Laser discs.
Yeah.
8 tracks. I don't know if we'll ever see the comeback of the 8-track.
I don't either. But people have those collections and
They do.
They're always gonna, I'm just saying we have to make sure that there's some way to fucking access it, because it's like I want to buy cassette tapes, but I don't have anything
Yeah.
to play a
Yeah.
cassette.
They have
Find
those.
some
They have those combination record players and you can put in a cassette. But I think you can put in a CD, and they also have a Bluetooth connection to it, and it's pretty much everything all in one.
Yeah, but that's all like Chinese junk. You need to go to Goodwill and find you one of them old Taiwan fucking, deck players or VCRs, back when, we used to get our stuff made.
And
Fucking
yeah,
Taiwan.
but that stuff's basically a relic anymore. But it's all, and that's an awesome thing too, to go to Goodwill and find stuff like that,
Yeah.
And it depends on you gotta find the good Goodwills though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the one in Fountain Square is awesome. I love that one. I found a really cute leopard coat there. We'll go there and buy like paintings for the frames,
Mhm.
and sometimes we'll just end up keeping the painting up and not using the frame because it's it's some pretty cool stuff in there.
Yeah. I've noticed depending on where you go, you're gonna find like specific things. Like if you go to more of the rural ones, you're gonna find like dope shoes, dope glasses, dope fucking like purses. If you're like looking for dope purses, and then if you go out to the suburbs a little more, like if you go to a Fisher's one, you're gonna run into really lame records,
Yeah.
really bad ones.
Yes. Some you'll find better clothes at than others too.
Yes, yeah.
Goodwill's definitely better for clothes than it is for like the CDs and.
You gotta go to.
It's such
Yeah.
to find anything good.
They have that spot over there off Shadeland where they like have intervals. Well, they'll bring out like 20 tubs full of stuff,
I hate
and then you have like they set a
that. Have you actually
timer.
been there for that?
I can't even tell you how many times,
Really?
bro.
I thought it was horrible.
You pay by the pound. I walked out of there one time. I spent $23 and just one like mint condition Barry Bonds rookie card was worth $800.
Oh wow.
And I got like cases and cases and cases of baseball, basketball, and football cards. It was like $23 with everything, and I bought other shit too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
You got lucky.
got lucky. Now you
It's just like such.
there's no such thing as luck. You got to
weird-
be there. You got to
Yeah.
be there.
Yeah.
And you got to dig, and you got to make sure you wear gloves. Ain't no joke. Like I fucked up one time. I reached into a pit, and there's broken glass. There's blood everywhere.
Mm.
Blood everywhere.
Oh yeah, I definitely
Wear gloves. Yeah.
like some what are those gloves, like the ones that the work gloves that keep your hands
I done learned. I'd never do that
Army
again.
gloves or
It's
something.
like
But
something
the
like that, yeah.
movies, oh my god, Untapped, like so many unopened, never watched VHS.
Mm.
I get through there, so yeah, it's pretty cool.
We need to see if we can get Goodwill as a sponsor, man.
Yeah,
We could do this every episode, I'm sure. Best Goodwill experience, best Goodwill find. I found a pair of Nikes at Goodwill that were like still in really good shape, $10. Somebody told me like this saw me with them. It was like those are $200 shoes.
Mm.
I was like, what?
Yeah, have an eye.
I always find like good leggings and shit there too.
I used to like. I just love the whole fucking vibe of like going to Goodwills and going to like whatever
Like
thrifting. I love thrifting.
I like the Trader Bus.
You know what got me hooked though? It was going to fucking pawn shops
Mm.
and buying instruments
Mhm.
and then flipping them.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I remember a lot of times going with you to pawn shops back in the day.
yeah. If you're ever gonna buy an instrument or an amp and don't know shit, I'll help you out. I'll get you around. I'll show you what's up. And I'll find you the best deal. What's up?
So I feel like maybe we got a little sidetracked there.
No way! No way!
It all ties in.
Talking about the dead formats, though, is that not something that Boswell's involved with or sponsored?
He's always been trying to get me to go.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think he's
It's like, hey man, it's coming
maybe,
up.
Show our button guy.
Yeah.
Real quick,
Yeah.
because it seems like a good role.
It's
Segue.
And if you're watching, Billy, tell us what you do with the dead formats. You got a booth or something like this? I feel like for sure I see you about that.
I think I want to say that.
I know he definitely does. So yeah, shout out Billy. Here you go.
Fuck you, Finch. You didn't eat shit, okay? You didn't prance around here like a ballerina for the whole week. Oh, wedding this, suck my ass that. I'm special, you're special, we're all just a bunch of special fuckers, aren't we? Well, you know what? I'm gonna get laid, Finch fucker, and it's gonna be oh so good. It's gonna be like, you like this shit, mama? And she's gonna be like, fucking right, doggy, give it to me. Suck on my nipples like you're milking a cow. Like, wow, wow, wow. You been here long?
Well, that was fun. So let's pick up where we left off. Amanda, you said that you're not like classically trained as a writer, and so what were you doing that brought your attention to start to write for Nuvo? How did that come about?
Well, basically, they had put out a post. Napier put out a post that he was looking for freelance writers, and you don't necessarily have to have experience. I think they were looking for some fresh minds to go out there and review these shows, review these albums and stuff. And I think that paid off because I took the plunge and I messaged him, and because that's right up my alley. I love music. I love to write, and it's worked out pretty well.
So what are some things that you've written for
Nuvo? I cover a lot of local and regional touring acts. I've done album reviews, single reviews. We've also done some stuff with OVW wrestling, and that's mainly Amanda Gore and I both contributed to that, and it was more her connections to that
opened the door?
Yeah, we got through that.
OVW, people that don't know what that is a wrestling promotion that they actually had a thing on Netflix about a year ago, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
That was really good. And House Snow owns that now and is trying to kind of resurrect that brand of wrestling. Yeah. So do you know how Amanda had gotten involved with that?
Well, the funny thing is that we travel to Louisville quite frequently, and just one night she was out at one of the bars, and one of the wrestlers, Freya the Slayer, was there, and she didn't even know. She was just talking to her, and they kind of struck up a rapport and a friendship, and so they talking back and forth, and she was talking about Nuvo and stuff like that. So we went down there on a special little trip and got some great interviews with the wrestlers, a lot of the wrestlers, and a lot of the footage. And Freya was really great to help facilitate that. She was we were able to stick around after the match, and she was able to go up to a lot of the wrestlers like, hey, do you mind if you spoke to these guys for a few minutes? and that was really cool. They were all so freaking nice, and at one point, I didn't realize it until afterwards, but like Al Snow walked right past us, and I was like, oh my gosh. I was,
Like living my dream.
yeah, it was awesome.
If this could be a wrestling podcast, I would be
I know.
happy with that.
I am so glad that a lot of people, because like I really grew up with watching wrestling, and a lot of people I know didn't really, but like I'm finding a lot more friends of mine have been into wrestling over the years, and it's cool to talk about it, you know.
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of us, especially at this age, it comes back to that Stone Cold Steve Austin,
The
NWO
Attitude Era.
You know, I was
Yeah.
definitely NWO for life. So, but yeah, I grew up on Hulkamania and all that shit. And, yeah, pretty much my favorite thing in the world. So, so when you have wrote about that for Nuvo, is that some of the premium content kind of stuff, or is that something that people can check?
People can check that out. We actually, on our articles now, there was previously a paywall. We've removed the paywall from all of our articles. And if you would like to view more exclusive content, that you can pay a small members.
It's onlyfans.com/Nuvo Indie.
There we go.
For $10 a month, you get fucking Jeff Napier.
I think there's also like
interviewing people,
like things like Patreon and whatnot.
Yeah,
it's akin to, it's very akin to Patreon, and how you get more content on the Patreon as opposed to, which I think is great that now that you can read the articles for free and have to run into that paywall, and then you get the added incentive of subscribing for that extra content. And I think that's a great thing. And I'm
hell yeah.
I'm glad that you mentioned it, and I'm gonna, like, full disclosure, as somebody
you would pay $10 for a Jeff Napier OnlyFans. I'd be so fucking cool.
Well, in today's day
he lost so much money last year. He went to like every show, like every show. He's going to like 3 shows. Imagine if he had like posted that content to where people had to pay for it. That'd been awesome.
The point I was going to make.
Nick's like, you son of a bitch.
He always does this.
You might shut.
But as somebody that would occasionally, being in the bands and whatnot, have articles about me and Nuvo and that paywall existing or whatever, I was very selective about what I was going to pick on as I saw like a number of what I'd be able to read. And I think I got to like my last one remaining, and I was like, well, and I mean, I know that's like, it sounds horrible and vain, but like, I can't be the only one that's like, I want to read the article about my fucking band.
No, you're not.
I was like saying that.
I mean, and that's
so.
Why would you not want to read an article about your own band?
I think it's important for people to know, like, that if you were in that similar situation, now you can click on those
and if you
and you're you don't have to wait.
And if you've ever had a review done by myself or any one of the other writers, hit me up or hit one of them up, and we can send you a link to that article.
Oh, yeah.
And that way you can read it and use it for promo or whatever you want to do. I mean, so
a lot of companies are doing that. So like Indiana Business Journal, they're one of them where you can't read you can read like one article.
Yeah.
So like, I figured out the loophole. All you gotta do is just find a different browser. Yeah, use a different browser. It's like, all right, now I got 3 on this browser.
Like the library.
Yeah, just so you can read your articles. But it's awesome that Nuvo made it to where you don't have to pay now, and now you can just read. That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's good
and you're gonna reach a larger audience that way too.
Absolutely.
And everybody's still trying to figure out sometimes the best way to do this. As like you said, we're moving away from what the traditional approach would have been with print media and whatnot, and now we're in this this age, and things are changing and whatnot, and you try something, and to me it makes sense.
Yeah.
I ain't mad at them, but I am really glad to hear like that they took that off. I think that is a good move.
Absolutely.
What is your favorite article, if you have one, that you've written for me so far?
Let's see. I think one of my favorite ones is when I interviewed Mark Rebo. He's a very talented guitarist in his own right, doing his solo stuff and with his
You said
band.
Mark Rebo?
Mhm.
Okay.
But he played guitar for Tom Waits. So that was awesome, and it's kind of a more obscure thing, I guess, to most people that aren't necessarily Tom Waits fans, but it was cool to have that experience, and basically, I mean, I love interviewing musicians and stuff, and as you guys know from doing podcasts and stuff yourselves, every interview is different.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Everybody's personality style, and I just recently interviewed Kevin Griffin from Better Than Ezra. Couldn't be a nicer guy. And it's just, getting that conversation, and it's more, and I like when the interviews are more like a conversation and not necessarily just
What's your favorite color, Amanda? What's the major city you were born in? What's your mother's maiden name?
What's your social security number?
Do you find it easier to talk, say, like in a conversation? If you, like, in that situation, did you find it easy to talk to him, or were you like a little bit awestruck at all? Or
I found it pretty easy to talk to him because he was so friendly and so open, and also a lot of these people are professionally media savvy, media trained, so they've been through the gamut, and they know how to talk to
You don't have to put their makeup on for them.
right.
Yeah.
They know how to talk to quote unquote journalists like myself. I always use that quotation mark. But and some they don't really talk a lot. You kind of have to drag the conversation out of them, and I find that you really have to stick with stuff that they're interested in talking about, because I'm sure that they've been asked the same questions like 12 million times, and then they can also tell if you're trying too hard to ask them.
Oh, you just read my mind. You just read my mind.
Yeah.
Because I was like, it's such a delicate balance between asking those questions that have been asked 100 times, because it makes sense that that you would be asking those questions, and then I think especially the more you do the reporting and the more interviews you do, you kind of get tired of that box, and it's really a natural thing then to start trying to hit them out of left field with something or be like super creative. And yeah, I think as a writer, it's important to like find that balance or whatever, and not be too try hard, because you can really probably turn off somebody that way.
Yeah, and you definitely have to get a little bit of research in before you interview your subjects, because then they'll know, like, have you even read up on me?
Right.
I just wanted to like make sure you understand, man. Like, you are a journalist, and the material that you write, people want to read it. And when I went and searched in my thing, Nuvo Happy Hour, it was like Fox News, NBC, whatever, and then this, and then this, and it's all these lists of things, and it's like you write for an accredited, nationally recognized media outlet. So I think it's awesome what you're doing, and I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
And you should be proud of your work.
I am proud of it. I really am, and I'm very grateful for you guys to have me here on the podcast.
This is like your 4th time.
I know.
Yeah, like next time you come, like you're gonna get a hat for like the 5-time club.
I was gonna say, is there a 5-timers club like on SNL?
Yeah, like
Yeah, we need that.
we need to just like The only thing is like
An actual can of chopped liver or something.
yeah, there's 99 episodes. I'd have to hit up Paulie and be like, Paulie, send me the list. Because it's a lot.
You
over
should do an
260.
episode of like the 5-timers club. Like get a group of people in their
Together,
5th time on the podcast and do like a little
Round table.
SNL type skit, and then like
You'd be here for it though. I mean, you've been on the show a lot. Yeah.
I want a robe.
And it's not like you've guest hosted. You've just been on the show.
Yeah, I've just been on the shows.
Yeah, guest
Yeah.
hosting does not count. And yeah.
I guess it doesn't count. I did before.
Yeah. Well, no. How are you gonna be a guest? How are you gonna be a guest?
Actual guest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Time.
Yeah. The first midweek crisis, you were the first official guest. Yeah.
It was set the bar low.
Oh man.
You can only go up.
We learned so much. Yeah. I think it's a beautiful thing. Oh, let's not talk about it. I don't know. I just love working with him, doing this stuff with him.
Yeah.
But Chopped Liver was born in a kitchen, and there was 3 people talking, and it was Nick, myself, and the button guy. And here we are, 10 years later. Yeah. Shit. Yeah.
It's bittersweet.
It's fucking cool as fuck. I love it. I have so much fun.
Yeah, we do have a good time. What brought you to the podcast? Was that a conversation that took place over time, or was it was it somebody's idea?
I think it was just it was one of those things that I think was just something that evolved into it. And Amanda Moore was really involved, I will say, with getting that up and running off the ground. And she's really done a lot of great work.
So it was kind of her brainchild in the first place.
Yeah, a lot of it is her brainchild, but also like I feel like it was something that was going to naturally evolve.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like
it was kind of in the ether at the moment.
In the ether, but you really need a person to turn ideas into actions, and Amanda's that person. She's very driven, very motivated. She helps motivate me. So sometimes I definitely need motivation. So and it's good to have a partner like that. And I'm sure you guys with each other.
I would love to find a partner like that. That sounds great.
Trouble in here.
Actually, like there's somewhere. I'm clueless.
I figured you were. I was talking.
Oh fuck, man! Come on. I do what I can. I do what I can.
And you know what? You guys are just like an old marriage. Being at it so long.
Yeah, we've been playing in bands together for 15 years. Yeah.
So, what is like the format for this podcast? Because you mentioned like bands playing and stuff. Is it going to be like live music videos?
I think the idea is we're actually going to be a webcast where it's recorded and available for streaming, which I think that's the direction that podcasts are going now these days anyway.
Just throwing it out there, Darren Snyder, he's a podcaster. He's been around like forever, like 12, 13 years, like one of the OGs. Hit him up because the way that you guys are doing it, he's done in that style. The Indian Tune, have you ever heard of him? Yeah, hit him up. Like if you guys are like, I'm just saying, I mean, obviously you guys know what the fuck you're doing, but if you do need, like, I just know that Darren does like the broadcast style of podcasting, and he's a really cool guy.
Awesome.
Like hit up Darren.
And whether I know what I'm doing or not is up for debate.
Well, I just either way, it's fucking awesome that you're doing it.
Right.
You know, like I say, the more podcasts, the better. Let's go. Hell yeah, it's awesome.
Do you have things lined up for future? Like, how often is this show?
We're looking. Our goal is to do it once a month, and so and there's a lot of work to be put into it. I mean, just looking for musical acts, stuff like that, or just finding topics to talk about, or what artists to feature. I mean, but it's something that we want to make it successful into a monthly thing. And I just think that the city has a lot to offer. And I think, all of us that contribute to the local scene, it's great that we all support each other, like me being on this podcast and stuff, like everybody being on each other's events, and so
There's definitely a lot of crossover, and as much as we're trying to contribute to that in our little way too, it is important. I mean, you help those who help
Right.
you, who help themselves, and if you're out there doing stuff and whatnot,
yeah,
it's almost just a natural thing that's occurring
Right,
it shows. And I think even though, again, we can come back to something you might see on social media, sometimes it doesn't look like it, but when I'm out at shows and whatnot, it is usually just a love fest. And
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
people
and that's how it should
that
be.
are that I can talk to and tell them what a great job they're doing with shit, and they'll come and tell me like, man, it must be awesome being friends with Chef, and he's doing some awesome shit. It's really cool. It's really cool to watch him go.
Untapped energy. Yeah.
But is there other people that are involved with the show that maybe you're like off? Is it going to be primarily you two on camera leading the show, or is it?
It's
kind of a group effort
it's
on that?
primarily us on the show. We'll have somebody filming for us and stuff like that. But as far as the hosting goes, it's primarily Amanda and myself. Yeah.
Any other like future guests already lined up for that or anything that you
We've got some stuff in the works. I don't know if I can quite talk about it yet, just because things
Do
are
it.
in development. TBD.
Announcement.
Is there
Do the
any,
announcement
a
now.
fantasy guest that you right now?
I'm being
that you need to
selfish.
get? And obviously, I don't mean besides tight like a tiger.
I was gonna say tiger, man.
Do a reenact.
Hell
yeah.
Fantasy act. I think it'd be cool to get Sloppy Seconds,
That would be tough.
because they're local legends,
Fuck yeah.
and that was like one of my first intros to, like, especially the local music scene here with Sloppy Seconds. Everybody would go to the Emerson, and those shows back in the day at the Emerson were freaking wild.
Hell yeah.
Sloppy New Year every year at the Emerson. I went for several years in a row. I didn't miss it. I missed that, and I think that'd be really cool to have something like that and have Sloppy Seconds.
Dude, definitely talk to Tufty, get a radio, Sloppy Seconds, and I mean, obviously, you're gonna want Tyler the Tiger for sure. I mean,
I think that would be. I would think that would be freaking awesome. Like,
you gotta do it.
like have a
Yeah.
Tufty, if you're out there listening, we should do a Sloppy New Year at Radio Read.
For me, in that same vein, if it was to be said like a fantasy guest to have on here, would be probably Paul from Zero Boys.
Paul Mayhearn.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's another one.
Get Paul and Jennifer down here. That'd be so cool.
When you talk about legends and whatnot.
Yes.
It's like, Zero Boys. And fortunate enough, that was probably 5 years ago or more now that they played at the Mel.
Yeah.
I was able to see them. It's awesome sometimes, like at the Mel, like seeing Flipper play there.
Oh, yeah.
Zero Boys, like some really awesome bands like Agent Orange and
Yes.
and when I saw Flipper play there, and I'm really bad with names of people and whatnot, but the singer from Jesus was singing with them. So it was like a twofer in a way because I love Jesus Lizard.
Yeah, I do too.
Nick was bawling like a baby. He was so happy. It was
I'm
monumental.
sure he was.
As soon as I found out that we booked him,
Oh yeah.
I was like, you can't tell anybody. Like you have to swear on
But you're in.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
Yeah. Fucking Flipper, dude. Yeah, he about lost his shit.
Well, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a big fucking Flipper fan, man. I went through a whole phase of like, I want things that are just in your face, kind of like different and the opposite of trying. And that's like Flipper to me.
The opposite of trying.
Yeah, you know?
Oh my god. Like you mean like you trying to set up gear before the show?
Yeah.
Not a gearhead. I'm the gear guy.
Yeah, we're opposite.
Yeah.
What are some shows that stand out to you? And it doesn't necessarily have to be, Nuvo related. Maybe some of your local favorite bands that you try not to miss when they play, or maybe like a touring act that came through that you just really it's like the best show you ever seen. So,
Oh my gosh, that's a really good question. Well, there's so many great local acts here. It's very hard to pick out one that just one or two that even just stand out. I would just say, I'm going to answer this question because I'm not a person that necessarily has favorites of anything. I'm just one thing. I'm more about the experience of it. If that makes sense. Let's see.
the correct answer was Wet Dinner, by the way.
They are amazing live. I will say that. Let's see. I don't know, like
Have you
local.
watched Mr. Clit a lot?
Oh yes.
Obviously, you're having them on the show.
Yeah. Mr. Flip's awesome. Love Grimy as well.
Mm.
Lousy Stew, obviously, they're one of my favorite local acts as well. So that's
They have some great videos too.
oh yeah.
She's awesome.
Yeah. And I've liked a lot of whenever Susie Moon comes to town, she always puts on a great show. I like the Richie Ramone shows stands out a lot. Probably my favorite show I've been to has lately within the past year has been the Dwarves show. I was so happy because I love the Dwarves, and I will say that I was a little starstruck meeting Blag and Nick Oliveri as well. And
It's so cool.
so I had William from RFB, and I was like, "Hey, can you take me?" Because I was also covering that show that night for Nuvo, and I was like, "Can you take me to meet Blag and say hi to him?" Because he was in the back in the green room, and I didn't want to be intrusive or bother him or anything. And I kind of just, we took a selfie and stuff. I still had blood on my face, and like one goes, "Is there any question you want to ask him?" And my brain totally froze. It's one of those moments where I wasn't prepared to be on the spot to ask him anything. I just wanted to meet him. And I just let him know I was reviewing the show, and I was just like, and I thought because Sid Hughes had done an article about Doyle, and he asked him what his favorite flavor of gum was, and I just was being cheeky, and I was like, "So what's your favorite flavor of gum?" And he said something like a green apple flavor. And in my article, I was like, "I would have picked him as a wintergreen guy." And I'm like, "That's the question I asked. That's the question I asked. I have one question to ask Flag."
Yeah.
And I asked him about gum. I'm clearly not prepared for this.
I have a similar where it wasn't the Pixies, but Frank Black and David Levering, the drummer from the Pixies, did a show at Birdie's. And David Levering, his thing was actually like a magic show.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, so I'm like a huge Pixies fan.
Mm-hmm.
And this was one literally where I was there bawling half the night at like just seeing Frank Black on stage. It was the first time seeing him and whatnot. Actually still the only time. But anyway, there was like a question and answer like portion to David Levering's deal before Frank Black. And I was like, oh, I get to ask a question. Like, drummer for the Baileys. And as it got to me, like, I still, like, it haunts me. I was like, oh, what do you think about the amps? And like, which is like a side band that Kim Deal had at one point, like just nothing to do with David, like, and I think, you know, like, but and it's surprising now that like I interview people at all those.
Got some humdingers.
Speaking of the Pixies and Kim Deal, that was another great show for me. Was the Breeders at Hi-Fi Annex, and what was really cool was after the show, we were walking back to the car, and we decided to stop and sit at a bench over around the back of the Murphy building, and we didn't even know it. And then the band came out that way, and so we got to say there. I mean, Kim was getting swarmed, but we did get to say hi to her. But we also talked to Kelly Deal for a minute, and they, you know, they were obviously getting, you know, on their way back to wherever they, you know, probably their hotel or whatever. So we didn't want to bother them too much, and they had their masks on and stuff. So we were trying to be respectful of their space, but it was cool. And she told Steven that she like, what was he wearing a Devo shirt? I think he was wearing a Devo shirt, and maybe I think Kelly told him she liked his shirt. I think it was a Devo shirt. It was either Devo or T-Rex.
Right,
Yeah. And so and next month, Stephen and I are going to Nashville, Tennessee to see Devo at Ryman Auditorium, and I'm so psyched about it. I got really lucky and found decently priced tickets for Nuvo, not Nuvo, for Devo, but for Devo, and I mean, because you look at some of the prices and tickets are like $300.
Yeah.
I was able to snag a couple for $79 a piece, and that's
Nice.
cheap for them.
Yeah, it's good.
So I'm very excited, and Steven is very excited.
Yeah, I know he loves Devo.
Yes.
And I'm a big Devo fan too. I've got
We wanted to try to go to Punk Rock Bowling to go see them, but that just wasn't in the cards.
And that's like a big one that would probably cost a lot of money to go to.
Yeah.
So what do you have like influences as a writer that you would say that you've drawn upon kind of like stylistically at all?
I really, as far as rock journalists, Lester Bangs, also, I would say definitely, I'd be remiss if I wouldn't say Hunter Thompson. And I know that's kind of cliche,
right?
It's kind of cliche, but you know, he was one of the people who's out there doing his own thing, doing his own stuff, and he was very uncompromising in his work. And I just, I identify with that, and I'm not like, a Pulitzer Prize winner or anything like that, but I really draw my inspiration. Yeah.
You'll get there.
Yeah.
John's won it a couple of times. It's not that
It's not that big a deal.
Nobel Peace Prize?
Yeah.
The Pulitzer.
The Pulitzer. Yeah, a couple times. Mostly for my stupid videos.
And and also just meeting other female journalists like Catherine when we interviewed her on the podcast. She's just she had a lot of knowledge, and which is very inspirational to me.
You can check out that podcast too, by the way. The link is in the comments there. Thank you.
Yes.
As well as the ticket link, the brown ticket link for the show on Saturday.
Yes.
Got that up there as well.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hell yeah.
I support you.
So would you say there are people in your life right now that like inspire you? Is there obviously when you're branching out and you do a lot of art as well,
Mhm.
which I kind of want to drift into that after we come back from the break. But is there anybody right now that it's like, you know, with, and you kind of touched on Amanda being like such a viewer, that's kind of helps drive you, or you know, where you're the iron sharpening your iron kind of thing?
I think it's just the music scene in general, especially being in Fountain Square and being around so many great venues is a huge inspiration, because there's so much to see and so much to do, and just being around bands, being around promoters, being around people who run sounds, stuff like that. You kind of really learn a lot on the go. It's like it's an immersive experience. You know what I mean? Like I'm not in a band and I'm not a musician by any means, but you know, I know, but you know, I'm with a musician and I know all the hard work it takes just to like get a song off the ground or book a tour, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So just seeing everybody just work so hard at their craft, I think, is what really, really inspires me. Just being around and just being around all my friends and being here,
being a part of the community.
Yeah. It's that's what it's about, and that's what it should be about.
Hell yeah.
The correct answer was
I was gonna say I don't want to speak for you, but I mean, Nick, man, I can tell you, dude. Like, so you know what they say, like, you should never meet your heroes. But Nick met me back in what 2008, mm-hmm. And I just know,
I admired him for
a
while.
I just know that I've been so inspiring to you, man. So, especially with my dank memes.
The memes.
Yeah, just
man, the memes and the memories, right?
Yeah.
All right. So
it's like, I don't understand what's happening. Chef's being an idiot. That's what's happening.
He does.
I just roll with it.
Well, we're going to take a short potty break and get some, I think Chef's prepared some fun materials for the class.
Per usual.
Go ahead and do your show and tell, Chef, and we'll be right back to talk more about art and maybe a music project in your future, right?
Hell yeah.
We'll talk about it. We found it.
I found it.
If you want to stop me, you're gonna have to fucking kill me!
Skunk weed.
Wanna hit?
I'm not.
Are you sure?
Okay, let's quit.
Close your eyes, Jared.
What do you see?
So you use crack or you're thinking about trying it, Crack it. So if you're thinking about using crack,
Do it! Just do it!
Nothing unusual. Get help now.
Let's go.
Welcome to the main event. Applying pressure, but I promise I ain't make it then. In their heads, living free, I ain't paying rent. Wake up in the AM, making G's like Mercedes Benz. Whoa, hey, please don't take offense. It isn't you, I'm just.
And we're back. Look at that.
I don't even know what that last
Look at
one
that.
was. Man.
Look how pretty it is.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah. I love this. Like my favorite part of doing child labor
Oh, yeah.
is making the artwork. Oh, I love it so much.
Yeah, you definitely have a style to it, man.
Yeah, I just try to like do my thing. I don't try to look at like it's just whatever comes out of my brain is what that is. I try not to
Overthink it.
yeah or like put too much thought into
Yeah, you can tell.
it. You got me.
So, speaking of style and whatnot, artistic style, Amanda, tell us about your artistic style. You're a painter, right?
Yeah,
I think you have some stuff at Long Shot.
I
Is
do.
that still there?
Yes.
So
Please
tell us
clear
about
my cup a little bit.
tell us about your painting style, what got you started as a painter, and where we can find your work.
So my painting style, I guess I would describe it as kind of like abstract, kind of outsider artish kind of thing. I'm not I'm not a portrait artist or anything like that. I'm horrible at drawing people. But I really enjoy making art. I love experimenting with color, experimenting with, my main medium is acrylic on canvas, but I do like to use like mixed media as well. As far as my inspiration goes, I really get inspired by the 80s, like, obviously a lot of pop art stuff, a lot of Warhol, and also like the New York art scene in the 80s with Basquiat and Keith Haring. Those are two of my big inspirations. And I think because it's just so unique, and it's it's not the traditional stuff you see. It's very raw.
Mm-hmm.
It's Basquiat did artwork on like old cardboard boxes and stuff like that, and it just shows that you don't have to limit yourself to certain things. You don't have to. I mean, a lot of the term starving artists. You don't have to have all this fancy stuff or be classically trained to be an artist. And creating art is what, to me, art comes from imagination. It comes from creativity. You don't necessarily have to be technically proficient at it. As long as you have the creativity and the drive to make something, I think that's great art. And I think art should be accessible to all people. Whenever I sell my artwork. I see artwork going for so much, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that because people are trying to make a living, which is very hard to do in the art world. I mean, that's the goal, is for everybody to, make I mean, that's one of my goals. I would love to do that, is to make money at something that you love and get to enjoy doing it.
Absolutely.
But I want my art to be accessible to people, that they can go to a First Friday and they can buy a piece of artwork for like,
152.
yeah. Sorry. But I don't charge that much.
$20 or something.
Yeah, like I've been told by people like, you need to start charging way more for that stuff, and I'm like, I'm just doing it to, pay for art supplies if I make any money at all. And whenever I do make money off of art, it ends up going back either into for art supplies, or like I'll turn around and buy merch from a band. Like I'll use that to, it goes back in to the community. And you brought up my stuff at Longshot. I do have, I know they've rearranged some stuff, but I do have some pieces on the $50 and under art wall that they have. And if anybody, and even if it's not at Longshot, if you want to buy a piece for me or like do a commission piece or something like that, I'm gonna donate half the proceeds of any artwork sold to help keep Longshot's doors open. I mean, it's not much. I mean, we're all broke, but I want to do something to contribute. In any way we can. If you guys are listening out there, definitely, Longshot really, really needs a boost right now. So share the GoFundMe, donate, whatever, go to a show. We need venues like that. There's not a lot of all ages venues in the city, and also
there you go. I went ahead and put that link up there.
Yeah, and also donate. It's a fun place to go, and I enjoy going there, especially during the summer when it's warm. You have little markets and stuff like that.
We played there. I mean, I played there between Sex Blanket and Tigers and a few times.
Oh yeah.
And, it's always just been so much fun and such a great vibe. And I was really shocked. I mean, we played there just the Tigers a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it was such a great turnout.
Yeah. I was like, fuck yeah, there. And we were up first too, to see that many people there.
For the start of the show.
Oh my God, it's so awesome.
And yeah, so hopefully people will get involved with trying to help out Longshot, and we can make sure that's a venue that's here to stay for everybody. I haven't seen anything yet, but if need be, we probably should do a show there or something. And
yeah,
they usually give the bands all of the door from there, so maybe 100% where the bands waive that.
Yeah,
make some money for Longshot.
Yeah, I'm tired.
It's all about, like I said before, and you also brought up, it's all about everyone in this music scene helping each other out.
Hell yeah.
Well, especially when it's like I've already been to other great shows. I mean, just they're really trying hard to put bands on that stage all the time, and the fact that it's all ages is, I mean, there's just not a lot of all ages that we're getting in front of. Like, so it's really a good thing for the scene to have Longshot. I feel like.
Hell yeah. And we're all about it's all about the community, and we're all about trying to help as much as we can, and get a platform for artists of all kinds to come here, as well as promoters. Like Wednesday we had MP Cavalier out. He is a podcaster with 45.com. They're a local event and media service that provide podcasts of all kinds, but there are some also focused on local, and they do like a show every week up in Carmel that features local artists. And then here we are on Sunday, and we've got a local media that does live shows and does podcasts, and You know, like we're all in this together, you know?
Exactly.
And the beautiful part about indie is when you're an outsider and you come in, you feel welcome and people are engaging. And we have such a beautiful community. And every once in a while there's the little spats of drama that happen here and there, but all together we're a fucking community and we all help each other. And what's best for your neighbor is what's best for everybody. And that's, such a beautiful thing that we have. And I am like long time fucking nouveau. I'm the dork with all the cutouts, and like all this stuff from that had stuff from my band in it. And I've always loved and supported what Kevin does. And Napier's like one of the coolest, most like intriguing motherfuckers out there, whether it's his writing or just hanging out and being around him. He's just so fun to be around. And it's, Nouveau has been such a part of my life for so long. I remember reading an article and this guy, who calls themselves a barfly, is talking about, the mysterious barfly guy, like that would come out to shows and everybody be like, that's him, that's the barfly, fucking Wayne Birch. And, reading an article, like he talked about Giraffe City Lions. Well, I gotta go check out Giraffe City Lions, And then the first like festival style show that we ever booked had that band on it. So it's, this community has been so strong for a long time. And it's, a lot of that thanks comes from entities like Nouveau or like these booking promotion companies like Punk Rock Night. And right now, like Stranger Attractions is like hot to trot, slicker than grease, fucking selling out Tuesdays at Black Circle.
Yeah.
We have just this awesome community, and god dang, it's a fucking beautiful thing.
And I want to mention too that I think it looks well for us, like going to other cities, just whether it's to see a show or if you're playing a show or covering a show, and to local musicians out there, it also builds a good rapport with them and makes them want to come here, tour here, play here, or have acts from indie play at their venues. I mean, it's, as you know, it can be very hard to book shows in other cities, and you really have to a lot of hard work to get in touch with the right people and everything like that. And I think that's, Louisville has PRN now, and it's branching off. I kind of feel like it's becoming a fight club where it's like branching off into other cities.
Hell yeah.
And it's, you want to represent your local scene, and you want people to want to be a part of that, whether it's in the city or outside of the city. They would love to come here and to play. And I think Indy's got a great local community. And I think if you reach out to other communities too, that they will see that, because I think, we're kind of Indiana, from what I've heard from a lot of people, is they consider it a flyover state. And there's so much here, and a lot of people don't realize it because we're not Chicago.
We're so close to Chicago.
Yeah, we're not Chicago. We're not Detroit, but we have some great music here
and a lot of corn.
That's true. A lot of pork tenderloins.
Hell yeah. Ooh. So talking about food.
Let's not talk about food right now.
Yeah, I'm an 8.
Yeah,
I think the thing of it is, though, is when bands do come here, and like a band that I would think of on this line is the Bobby Lees. And if like you get to see the Bobby Lees before they're, because you just like the Bobby Lees are going to be huge.
Yeah,
I think they're already kind of huge, but like and bands like that come through And when people are like showing out to shows and whatnot, and we're having good turnouts and whatnot, and these bands have a great time when they're here, and then they get, and they're coming through before they're up at the top of the mountain or whatever, like that better chance of like, well, I want to go back to Indy and play, because they're always such a good crowd and treat us so good. So it is important, like from week to week, and I think that we do a great job, like these different venues and whatnot. I can remember a time back about 10 years ago or so that I played 2 or 3 people in Indianapolis, and not had that kind of turnout for shows. And I couldn't even imagine now that actually ended up being the case. I always prepare myself for it. every show before we play. I'm like, nobody's going to be there, and we're going to fuck up, and it's going to suck. And then it never is that. And I'm always like, yeah, that was awesome.
Man, I wish we had more house shows though.
Yeah.
God dang, I love house
Well,
shows.
and kind of the season for that starting to pop up.
Yeah.
And I think that's another reason why I like Long Shot too, is because I feel like it's kind of got that house show.
Almost feels like a
Yeah.
show.
Yes.
100%.
Yeah, and a good example of what you were talking about with like out of state, or like when you were talking about the Bobby Lee's, it made me think of Radkey.
Yeah.
I mean, Radkey has
It's a great example. Yeah.
PRN award winning, and then when I covered their show, the first show they played at Long Shot, they loved.
That show.
Yeah, you guys played as well. They love that venue, and they liked it so much they came back.
Sitting around the picnic table, fucking drinking, having a good time. Hell yeah.
Yeah, and
Fucking
that's,
warm summer night.
yeah, that's the kind of thing that I like to see. I feel like Indy is kind of a hidden gem, but you just have to come here and know where to go in the local scene. And I think that a lot of people would really enjoy playing here.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to like MOKB. Like, I don't know if you've been paying attention what they're popping off on, but
my old
I'm still like trying to dry up the pee from when they announced it, but they have Amel and the Sniffers coming, and I'm just like, I already hit them up like, I want to shoot this one, so I want to fucking, I want to be there, but man, I want to take photos of Amel and the Sniffers.
I get to cover that show for Dubo.
Hell yeah!
I'm so excited.
I'm gonna try to see if I can cover it for Dying Scene. So there's another one coming up. I'm probably gonna do for them. I think copyrights are coming. No, not copyrights. Copyrights, right? No.
If either of you can pull some strings and get me and Ashley into Guided by Voices, that would be.
I can't do that.
Oh yeah, I was talking about that too.
I think that's in June.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah, but we got the tickets to them.
The only way I'm getting into shows, I'm working. So.
Recently, well, get a job done. Girlwood came through.
You can't make me.
I think that might have been close to 2 months ago now. But Girlwood was a band that we saw at the Mel, and Ashley's a big fan of them, so that was awesome. But what do you feel like is, as an artist, coming back to the art, I know there's like a lot of First Friday stuff and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Are you involved in any other kind of like art shows that go on? Is there
I've done a couple First Fridays at Imbibe, and they usually have those, on the second floor of Imbibe, and that I like that one because it's an all night thing. You're there till about 2:30 in the morning, so you have people from the bar crowd coming up and looking at all your stuff. But I kind of want to start to get into doing more First Fridays or doing more stuff with art, because it's getting warmer out, and I just kind of have the urge to create more stuff.
I wonder sometimes when it comes to that, maybe this is a conversation I don't know, you probably wouldn't have expected to have, but sometimes it's interesting to me. There is a power in numbers thing when you have like a First Friday event and all the artists are kind of coming together and you got your little booth with your art and whatnot. And I understand like the bringing that together, but you also think that there's now you're kind of surrounding yourself with your competition. And I think in a way, as an artist, again, we talk a lot about like iron sharpening iron. That like when you're walking around and you're seeing these other artists, what they've got, does it ever for you, have you been like, oh, I'm super inspired now from seeing this, and or maybe like felt like, and I know we've had this as a band, so no shame in this, but it's like almost like, damn, now I feel like I got to be so below this artist that I've seen.
Dude, remember when we played a show out at the Marlowe's at the fucking Riot Room, and I remember it was like a really amazing lineup, and I'm talking about Tie Like a Tiger, and it just so happened the order that night we followed Crisis Actor, and it was like, Jesus fucking Christ, how do you follow Crisis Actor? You know, and we went up there like guns blazing, like let's go. And dude, I had like one of my favorite sets I've ever played. And yes, I know that's a great example of that. Like, yeah, you guys ever want to feel your balls drop, follow Crisis Actor. Man, they're fucking badass.
So any similar experiences like for artists that you kind of maybe you don't have to name them, but just like an experience like that doing a show or anything?
I really do get inspired by that stuff, and it doesn't necessarily make me think like intimidate me or anything, but it does give me, it gives me ideas for stuff like I could be doing such different things because you know, I do enjoy working with canvas and acrylic stuff, but I kind of want to look into doing, other things too. I see a lot of people that do like the terrarium art or like they'll have stuff with skulls and like crystals and stuff like that. And I think that's really cool. And and like a lot of like the resin art, and that takes so much like skill and just time and money going into a lot of that stuff, and it's amazing what's out there, and you wouldn't think it until you go to some of these First Fridays, and it's like I'm like continually blown away by what I see, and I think that's a great inspiration.
What is maybe specifically like a media or medium that you haven't done before that, because like I've seen you say that you wanted to start a band.
Yeah, that's always been kind of one of my things in the back of my head that I've always wanted to do, and it's kind of one of those things of a combination of stage fright and just I've never been in a band before. So, it's like I know some things, but until you're actually in a band and experience it, you don't really know. And I can't play instruments. I can sing. I could probably play the triangle. I don't know,
If it was necessary, you could break out a triangle.
I could break out a triangle.
So has singing that you're saying that you do, right? Does that come from like singing along to the radio, like obviously to put it out there to be like, hey, who wants to start a band? You have to have some confidence that you could sing.
Yeah, I was in choir when I was in school and stuff like that. And I used to sometimes when I go to church with my grandma, I'd sing in her church choir. I mean, obviously I'm not such a church going individual anymore, but it was cool to kind of be up there wearing the robe and stuff like that and getting to sing. My grandma that passed away is a huge inspiration for a lot of my stuff because she was a very talented individual. She played piano, she played guitar, she sang in her church choir, and I didn't even know that she played guitar. I had no idea until when she passed, and it was in her obituary, and I was like, "Dad, Grandma played guitar?" And he's like, "Yeah." I was like, "I never knew that." I knew she played piano and like she would do her choir stuff, and at Christmas every year, her church she had this like bell chorus stuff. They play the bells. She did all that stuff, man, and I'm like, "What am I doing with my life?" You know.
Well, it's great though, and usually talented people like yourself, it's runs in the family or something.
Yeah.
I know like Shep's brother Jack's a DJ and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
DJ Jack Olek.
Killing it in his own right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had like for me, my dad and my uncles and whatnot would do a lot of jamming and whatnot, and just kind of picking guitars. And I can remember because my family's super separated, we don't see each other a lot, and so it was like a Thanksgiving or a 4th of July, and I had been invited out, and all my uncles were going to be there. And it was like, bring your guitar, we'll be doing some picking. And I was so intimidated because, like, as a kid, it was like these guys were doing awesome shit and playing Metallica songs and stuff like that. And so, yeah, then when we were all like, okay, we're going to play, and I found it, like, really easy to keep up with. And I felt like there were the times where I was kind of like blowing their minds. What that was like the best feeling. I don't know if I could describe that or get that anywhere else because it's family. It's just different.
Absolutely.
So, what is maybe like along the way? It could be on an article or a piece of art. Maybe some like what's the best compliment you've ever got? Or one that really stands out where it was like, this person really made my day talking about something like that.
So, I don't know if you guys know Hanny Sams.
Yeah.
She is an amazing artist. She's one of the local artists that I really admire their work. And I was showing her my artwork. She's like, you need to make your own page. You need to do this. Why aren't you doing this? And she was like, she really was. That was such a huge compliment because I admire her artwork so much, and for her to like look at my stuff and say that I need to be doing more with it, And I've had a lot, I've had a lot of other local artists friends say the same thing, and it means so much. But I think the comment, and I don't know if it was necessarily a compliment, but it definitely stood out. I was at a First Friday in Vibe, and this dude comes by my booth, and he's like, "I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you," which probably not going to be a compliment, and probably ultimately it's going to be something somewhat offensive.
Right.
He goes, "Were you sober when you made these paintings?" I'm like, "Wow, okay." I mean, no, but he didn't need to know that. But I mean. My creative process, I do like to partake in the jazz cabbage.
Yeah.
To help the creative process. I don't necessarily need it, but sometimes it does help get the creative juices flowing, as they say. But I just thought it was funny that he said that, and I think he meant like
something.
Yeah, you have to be on something to create this.
Yeah.
And like I'm thinking he probably thought I was like on hallucinogens or something when I was making some of this stuff. Like, no, it's nothing like that. I just imagination, but
actually do it like now it's one thing to play something you've done a million times on hallucinogens. Hopefully I'm saying that right. But,
hallucinogenics.
To create something, I don't know.
Yeah.
I would be like, Has anybody ever approached you where, like, someplace where you didn't expect to be, like, recognized as that, or just a moment where it was like the last thing you thought was somebody was going to be like, hey, I read this article, or hey, I saw your painting, I love it. You know, where it's just like, wow.
I haven't really had much of that. Like sometimes I'll go places, like if I'm out at a show or if I'm at a bar or something like that, and somebody that I don't necessarily know, like I'm talking to them, like, yeah, I've seen you around before, or I've seen you on podcasts, or I've seen you on, I've seen when you pop up all the time on social media with like, Nuvo stuff or something like that. But not like, oh my God, is that Amanda Irene?
Shit.
Oh, like paparazzi coming out, No, nothing like that, but, I'm not one of those people that's like, if somebody did that anyway, I would just probably be very embarrassed and go hide. 'Cause I'm not like one of those people that's like needs a huge spotlight put on them. And I mean, it's awesome, but I'm very introverted. I'm very shy, so that would
come in handy when you're doing the podcast.
Right? Yeah. I do that. Like, I feel very comfortable in a podcast format because it's not like you're. I mean, you are talking out there to the millions of followers for chopped liver, but billions, but it's like I'm just sitting here talking to you guys, and that's obviously going to be a bit different for next weekend when we do our live podcast show. And it does kind of get in your head a little bit, like when we filmed our first podcast episode, and some of it was we filmed part of it had it streaming live, and I was just like, oh my gosh. And I moderated, because they asked like who wants to moderate between the two of you, and I was like, I guess I'll do it since I've already been on a podcast. And I just honestly, that first one we had come up with a little outline beforehand, but it was that first podcast episode, I think, because I think we're just still trying to figure everything out, was very, very ad hoc, very like, I mean, we had some notes, and we had gotten with the people that were going to be on and kind of gave them a heads up of what we wanted to talk about on the podcast. And it's easy when you have somebody on there that has something coming out you can talk about, but it was just it was a little unnerving because I was moderating for the first time and I didn't have a script or anything like that. I just kind of flew off the seat of my pants.
Yeah.
And I make some notes, but it's almost always like get the conversation started, and then to me the best advice I would give somebody is be a good listener.
Yeah.
Because if you're engaged with what somebody is saying, they will basically. You sometimes you pretty much just got to line somebody up, ask them the right question, get going, pay attention to what they're saying, and the rest will kind of write itself.
Exactly. That's why, like, and I liked that we kind of did it that way because I feel like things came up organically.
Yeah.
I mean, we did get sidetracked a few times, but we were always able to bring it back. And I think, I know you guys too have to do that sometimes, kind of reel stuff in.
Yeah.
It's generally me reeling him in.
Yeah.
And that's a good balance, because I can get, I could probably get a little sidetracky sometimes, and I think that's where Amanda's good too, is that to help steer the conversation back. And you know, if you're doing something like that, be it a podcast, be it a band, whatever, you need different personalities, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, not like completely different, but just like a yin and a yang.
Yeah.
You know, and
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, Chef's the yin to my yang.
Yeah.
Creatively.
For sure.
But, you know, we're actually pretty much out of time here. Isn't it crazy how fast that went by?
I know.
It seems like we just started talking.
Yeah.
I want to give you one more chance here, though, to plug the event next weekend. Give us all the details, where they can find, like, the links, social media.
So there's an event link on Facebook for the Nuvo Happy Hour podcast episode number 2. It's going to be live at Radio. I believe it starts at 8.
Does it say
8
p.m.? Yeah. 8 p.m.
Yes, yeah. So I imagine doors will be at 7. We're going to have Mr. Clit and the Pink Cigarettes, Lousy Sue, Indianapolis Symphonic Band, and they're going to be doing some funk music. And I'm very interested to hear what that's going to sound like. We're also going to be sponsored by Jägermeister. They're going to be at the event handing out samples and handing out merch. So, you know, you guys want to come by, there's a lot of stuff going on in the city, but if you want to come by and grab some Jaeger and see some cool music for a little bit before or after you go to do whatever, we'll be here.
Hell yeah. And you can actually find the event tickets, the Brown Ticket event tickets in the comment section here. As you can see, here's one of them. But regardless of where you're watching, there's a link if you want to go ahead and grab yourself some tickets, head out to the show Saturday.
And is that something through nuvo.com also that people can?
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think you could probably access something like that.
Yeah.
Through Nuvo, but
or
that's
just find them on Facebook.
probably the easiest is to go on the event link, and then also you could probably, you know, I'm sure, you know, at the door or whatever at the box office too. Radio. We're pretty excited because I feel like Radio is starting to do more stuff. And so
Tuffy's opening it up. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Some things going on there, and that's such a cool venue. So
I don't know about you, but I've never played radio, so
not yet.
Just dropping them hints.
Yeah, we need to get in with somebody. That's good. There, I guess.
You focus.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, man. I'm gonna tell people about some shows.
Hell yeah! We
might even mention
tonight in the
Melody tonight, and I think you're gonna be there.
I'm gonna be shooting tonight. It's my first, and I'm healthy and I could be there, so I'm shooting photos tonight.
You're looking good today too. I was worried about you this week, man. So
yeah.
Nice rebound.
Thank you. Yeah, lots of rest.
Like you're doing a lot better.
Lots of rest, and I'm cutting back smoking, and I have a follow-up appointment on Monday, and I'm gonna start taking Chantix again. I did it before, and I went 4 months without smoking, and then I quit taking it, and then I started smoking again.
Mm-hmm.
So,
man, it is tough to quit. I'm trying to make a shift to vaping now from smoking.
Yeah,
really trying to space those cigarettes out more. And stuff.
Be healthier.
So,
but tonight,
you'll be
check
out
that
there,
out.
Karen's. I got worms and and then at Long Shot tonight is Blessed Black, Fairy Ring, and
Storm Toker.
Token. But that's tonight at Long Shot. Again, we've been talking about them a lot.
Yeah,
to
for
go
sure.
out to a show and support Long Shot.
And if you can help them out, GoFundMe's and the links as well. Help keep the doors open at Long Shot.
And then there's a special Tuesday night show at Black Circle.
Hell yeah.
Soft Kill with Gone, Last Legion, and Boot Blacks.
Hell yeah, that looks dope. $20 advance, $25 day of.
Like you said, a lot of those shows sell out.
I'm gonna tell you right now that I'm not a gambling man, but something tells me that motherfucker's gonna sell out. Get your tickets.
Right. And then this Friday at Healer is the Friday night death fight with Gates to Hell, Vomit Forth, Rip to Shreds, Corpse Pile, Nucleus, and Ripped Open. If that's not like the most open, go and you will be murdered.
There will be blood at long shot.
And that's Healer.
Healer. All ages too, by the way.
Healer is such an awesome venue. So yeah, that sounds like a cool one. And then Saturday, Nuvo presents the Happy Hour podcast.
What?
Radio with Mr. Clinton, the Pink Cigarettes, Lousy Sue, and Indianapolis Symphonic Ensemble. And of course, we've talked a lot about that one. Hope you guys get out to that.
Yeah, tickets are in the comment section. That brown ticket gets that ticket.
And then always a big show Saturday at PRN this week. It's the Prom.
Hell yeah.
Big Gorgeous.
Love Big Gorgeous.
Big Gorgeous, another band that
love you guys.
They love coming through here. And those are some.
This is the first time they played indie without Six the Ripper, the band that I sing in, playing with them. So, but that's all right. I'll be shooting them with my pain.
Blondie Tribute and the Lasketeers. So prom night, always a fun night at PRN. And then another on Sunday, the 28th at Black Circle is the Black Circle Market with local artists, makers, creators, collectors.
Hell yeah.
Awesome stuff going on at Black Circle on Sunday as well. A lot of times they'll start early in the afternoon for things like that. So check it out. Way to
what's going on at high noon next Sunday?
And next week we have probably going to be the best guest we've ever had, besides you, Amanda, of course. But we've got Sid Hughes, aka William Stouch, from a band we all know and love, Republican Sex.
Another writer for Nuvo.
And a writer for Nuvo, a bandmate of mine. And hopefully he'll bring some buttered limes with him for us to.
That's some buttered limes.
We've been sold out on the buttered limes forever, so real hot commodity. So yeah, tune in next week.
You want to drop the show on Wednesday?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Motherfucker, Gunfield Overdrive! Woo!
Hell yeah.
All up in lapel. Man, the members of that band, it's something of legend. Oh my God, just years and years of playing shows and releasing albums under all these different bands. You know, it's kind of like a super group.
Yeah.
So yeah, and they're all going to be out on Wednesday. I get to hang out with them, and hopefully they bring a bottle and I'll watch them drink, but it's going to be a blast. I know that.
The Midweek Crisis, it's definitely a party, not a podcast.
It's a party. It's not a podcast. Yeah, that's right. You nailed it, buddy. You nailed it.
Well, hey, one more time, I want to thank Amanda for joining us today. It's such a great time. Just flew by. Really excited for the happy hour show you've got going, and your art is like you said, at Long Shot, and just out there killing it, Amanda. So
I'm excited to see the podcast. I'm so happy you guys are doing it. So cool.
Thank you.
So hey guys, join Shep this Wednesday night for Midweek Crisis. Join us next Sunday for Sid Hughes, the Republican Sex Blanket and New fame. And we'll see you then. Thanks for watching and take care.
Hell yeah. Get out to a show, baby.
You know, my favorite type of weed was cocaine. Cocaine. Cocaine.
Son of a biscuit-eating bulldog with the French toast. You think I wouldn't find out about your little doo-doo head cootie queen? Are you calling a cootie queen, you lit? Oh, you kumquat! You're overreacting when I put your convertible into a wood chipper, stinking extinct face.
Oh yeah, Daddy.
Cocaine. 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 Cocaine.